Comedy is something of a... Sorry, that's a Persona Scripts opening. Let's see. Comedy is no stranger to... Fuck, that was the plot video's opening. Here. To say there's a niche following for... You see what I'm doing? Comedy is a thing which people call upon to make people laugh. It's the joke of all jokes, the moment which people remember only by the cackles that chortle free from their throats. Right there was me trying to summon the power of the setup of a joke. The punchline is nowhere to be found though, because in reality, I wasn't trying to make a joke. But this is a video about comedy anime, not anime comedy, or else I would have already started with the basement jokes. Now, the distinction to be made when it comes to anime and comedy is the fact that the genre of comedy, specifically alone, is very f***ing rare. It's always paired with other stuff because comedy alone would just be a stand-up skit. But the fact of the matter is, on Mal, the comedy list shows there are mostly a combination of action comedy, romantic comedies. Now it's time to make a distinction. There are action comedies where the action is the focus with skits interspersed for mood-setting means, and there are comedy actions where the action is fully subservient to the comedy. Think slapstick or the comedy of someone in Wipeout getting clobbered. That's comedic action, or simply physical comedy, the laugh you suppress when your friend trips.
Oh, no, because there's a handrail that I don't... Shannon! Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh.
Quick aside, but it's worth mentioning, I am not worth my salt in comedy. I dabble, sure, but I am no comedian. With its advent next season, Konosuba will be returning. Of course, this video is really just a paltry grab to put Konosuba and third season in the thumbnail for clicks. Pathetic, I know. But Konosuba is not a fantasy comedy, it's a comedy fantasy. Comedy which has a leash around the fantasy of the world to make things funny. Konosuba utilized something I'll call the boys energy. Not like the Amazon TV show, but the term of endearment you say, I'm hanging out with the boys. Now, before I get slapped with the possible remark about gender equality from all the Kazumas in the comments, no, there are no girls watching this video. Statistically, 99% of you are males. Sorry, I lied. 100% of you. But it doesn't matter even if all of you suddenly were transformed into girls, because the boys is an energy. It's not a matter of gender. It's the goofy group of friends which you screw around with and find out that you really shouldn't trust your life to these goobers. Konosuba is the D&D party that decided that the DM's plotline of killing the Demon King is so generic that they went right back to screwing around. And the DM decides to get them back onto the plot. And before people say, but Goblin Slayer is the better example of D&D. Yeah, nah, I don't fuck with stories that gotta use cheap shock factor as thin world building that's more flaccid than Rudeus' dick. Konosuba is funny. And sure, some people don't find it funny, but it's the energy of people f***ing around, and all the general moments of absurdity. This is comedy with a plot. I think I forgot to mention some line of thought earlier, but there are comedies with plot and then there is episodic comedy. Think comedy with plot like SpyXFamily. Keep typing the comment about how it's SpyFamily and not SpyXFamily, I know. And of course, most episodic comedies even have an overarching plot, but the focus isn't on that. And it's on the skits that bring forth tidal waves of laughter. It's time to talk about my favorite. Grand Blue! This is the power of absurd mixed perfectly with the boys' energy. Iori, Kohei, Kebako, and Chisa are the 4-piece that would list in a Tinder profile power comedy. Kebako and Chisa are the reactors. They have the absurdity happen in front of them and are expected to act like straight men. But if we're still pushing sexual innuendos, then Kebako is a switch. She's f***ing funny, and Chisa does the same in the way a straight man would in a 2-piece comedy skit. Comedy has principles, but Grand Blue doesn't. Binge drinking, public indecency, yada yada yada. Oh, you thought I meant principles as in the tenets of what to follow when creating comedy. Pfft, wrong. I meant principles as in morally correct behaviors. Third down on the Google definition. Grand Blue really just ticks all the boxes for absurdity done right. The characters develop into the scenario and soon they're corrupted by it too. It works because all of the personalities are what you'd be familiar with in your group of friends. People are funny, especially when you get used to them. These just happen to be lab made to Twitch streamer level energy and comedy and reaction to a literal pro. I'd say that Grand Blue really fits into the episodic comedy niche, and most comedy fits into episodic comedy, rather than overarching plot comedy because, well, maintaining consistent laughs without falling into the same joke is hard. I should talk about Spy Family. There's a lot to talk about, so this is an abridged section. Rereading it made me realize, damn, the comedy moments are usually just Anya dumb, something wholesome, or Lloyd losing his wits as he realizes his daughter is far more stupid than he thought. I'm reclassifying it as action comedy and not comedy action. Shaking my head for real. But we're back onto comedies. There's two to jump straight to. Nichijou, the one with the cute girls and not the guys one, and then Sakamoto Desu, both of which are episodic comedies, and both are funny. Surprisingly enough, talking about comedy anime means they'll be funny. Nichijou may actually be one of the series I watch before reading, but both mediums convey the hilarity perfectly. Sakamoto Desu has the characters around Sakamoto acting as the straight man, making the comedy excellently centered around his enigmatic nature as a perfect being. And it's one of the series which the ending kind of felt like it belonged to the writer, it wasn't just a cop-out. And then Nichijou, the girls have bro energy. Like when I said the boys is a feeling, I wasn't lying, they are the perfect group of goofy goobers. They do absurd things because of their age, their characteristics, and it never feels like a joke over the writing of the series. Even if it was made to be hilarious, the characters are true to the joke. And as I pass through this many-page long scroll of Mal looking at comedies, I realize that I've been avoiding the subgenre of comedy that everyone swoons over, rightfully so as well. It's the humble romantic comedy. Not so humble, they parade around with feathers brighter than anything, but the rom-com is not as old as time. But it's certainly a mixture that the lab knows works well. It's a strong entry into the comedy leads over the other genre, but rom-coms really are true to both the romance and the comedy. Both have their time to shine, and that's what makes these series so damn good. Romance and comedy can sit side by side without one of the other genres being subsumed by the overwhelming energy that is the tidal wave of comedy. And of course, if I didn't mention Akasaka Aka, or Aka Akasaka, it'd be like me denying someone that made me who I am. Of modern mangaka and manga writers, Akasaka is my nomination for this generation's cool guy. Because GOAT seems to step on the toes of the plethora of other also deserving writers. Kaguya-sama and Oshinoko. Kaguya is the comedic entry in Akasaka's repertoire, and Oshinoko the entry for his drama, but both incorporate elements of the other. Drama and comedy really are two sides of the same coin. The best comedic actors show their chops are equally suited for deeply dramatic roles. I'd say that the fact of the matter is, the extremes of expression and the depths of stoicism as the situation squeezes the characters to their limits is a show of how emotions spring up and jump down like bungee jumpers. Akasaka prefers to use drama to drive the plot. His use of comedy is often delivered to put readers at ease. This mastery over both really widens the breadth his works can target. The careful manipulation of the arc the story takes allows for the tonal shifts and the sudden strikes to hit harder than ever. The jump from lighthearted to oh shit what up is stark. But Akasaka does it better than everyone that's starting to incorporate comedy as their chosen subgenre because his comedy feels natural. It's simply that he's a damn good writer. Anime comedy is good, and I mean, this video's contention was lacking from the beginning, but like if you haven't watched any of the mentioned shows, I was glazing all of them, so go check them out. They're funny, and they make you laugh. I mean, that's all comedy is really, right? Oh fuck, I thought of an opening to the video. Comedy is something of a fuck, I made that joke already. Anyway, do the funny YouTube things like subscribing and liking. Glazing me allows me to glaze more great anime.